This is LOA Recon with Good Vibe Coach Jeanette Ma, where we explore the ins and outs of conscious creation to manifest our favorite dreams come true. Let's have some fun together. Welcome and thank you for tuning in for another episode. And big thanks to Joanne who sent me this lovely note that reads, "You are best in class at bringing the reality of making a better life come to be. You have real life experiences that people can really identify with. Always a good time to listen in." That is lovely to hear. Thank you for sending that. In fact, when I wrote asking for permission to quote her on a future episode, she said, "Yeah, just call me Joanne, your favorite fan in Canada." I do have a lot of favorite fans in Canada, Joanne. You are definitely one of them. Thank you for the note. Oh my gosh. And also thank you for the heads up that the blog comment feature was not working properly. That should be solved now. My apologies to anyone who was frustrated in trying to leave a comment who was not able to. Speaking of solving, you know what? Back in the day, well, I still do have my own Rubik's Cube. You know, the square puzzle with the colored moving pieces that you're supposed to put it back together with the solid color on each side by twisting the different rows up and down. If you ever played with one of those, you might have found it could be pretty frustrating. It can feel like a big mystery how to solve that thing. But I got pretty good at it. So much so that friends, even strangers, would bring me their Rubik's Cubes to school. I'd spend the whole recess. Shoot, I did it even in class because guess what? I didn't need to look at it. Okay, I could take one look at it and then I didn't have to look at it again. I could solve the whole thing with my eyes closed. It was pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie. But you know what? It isn't that tricky. It looked like it was, but it wasn't that tricky because they come with a manual that includes the solution. So there's no secret on how to fix them. But for whatever reason, whether they lost the manual or never bothered to read it or just didn't follow it, or maybe they liked the mystery of the cube. They didn't want to spoil their fun. I don't know why they didn't solve their own, but they would bring it to me to solve. And it was super fun. I mean, I could do it in seconds. It did not take minutes. It was pretty fun to see their reactions mostly because they thought I was doing some sort of magic. But I'm like, y'all, there's a manual for this. I did enjoy doing it for them, though. And I've been thinking about that as I was talking to clients this week. Oh gosh, I got inundated with clients after my last newsletter went out about solving impossible problems. If you do not get my newsletter, you can get that by signing up for anything on my website. I send it to everyone. It goes out about twice a month. Sometimes it's once a month, but I'm shooting for twice. Anyway, I had written recently about how to use conscious creation and vibration management to solve impossible problems. And it was almost like everyone heard that as a siren call to hire Jeanette for solving their impossible problem. And I am happy to help. It's what I do for a living. It's my joy to do that. And you don't need me. There's a manual for that. The problem that you think is so impossible, it's actually simple. It's easy for universe to sort it out. And it doesn't even need any time to do it. It knows how to do it for you. But you do have to give it one key ingredient. That ingredient is the vibration of the solution instead of the problem. Because once you hand it over with the solution, you got the vibration of the solution, you don't even need to know what the solution is. You just got to get off of problem and vibrate solution instead. Once you do that, universe goes to work on it. It is whirling and twirling and sliding things into place. It's pulling out resources and people you didn't even know existed to solve your problem. But they were all there. They were right there all along. There was an easy answer to whatever you think your problem is, that when it gets solved, to you it's going to feel like a miracle. But it's just another day in the playground for universe. Solving your Rubik's Cube like it was no big deal. Because it isn't a big deal for universe. And you know what? That's actually appropriate for us to be giving it to universe to solve. Because we're not supposed to be solving these ourselves. At least not making it happen ourselves if we're sticking with this metaphor. Universe has the manual. It knows all the things. We're not supposed to know. We're not supposed to make it happen or do anything other than vibrate solution instead of problem, and then do whatever we enjoy most. Do whatever feels good after that. That's what I was doing when I told you about the foster dog in a recent episode about how I had a problem that was so big on my hands that after trying to solve it myself the Muggle way, which I was doing with the vibration of serious problem firmly engaged, which is why nothing was working, that I got so sick to my stomach with contrast. All I wanted to do was vomit and cry. And then I remembered, oh, girl, hold up. Nothing good can come when you feel this bad. You got to try a new vibration. So I tried on the vibration of what I wanted, which in that moment, I just summed it up as happily ever after for everyone involved. Happily ever after for the dog, happily ever after for the cats, for my dogs, for the shelter, for all the dogs and all the cats in the shelter, for me, for Chad, for the whole shelter staff, for all the rescue groups, for everyone who was just happily ever after for everyone. So I just imagined that everyone got what they wanted and was living happily ever after, because that's what I wanted, for everyone to be happy, especially Olive. She didn't have a name at the time, but she does now. So I told that story in the episode called, I think it was called Seeing It First or something like that. You got to see the results first. So I won't repeat it here, but long story short, I felt the good feelings. I let the problem go. I went about my business of life, doing my best not to worry about it anymore. And I'm going to say I am pretty good at turning it over to the universe. And if, or maybe I should say when, especially when it feels big and important, when gremlins try to get me worked up about it again, I just remember the vibration that works. It's the vibration of the solution instead of the vibration of the impossible problem. So I did that. I went to bed. When I woke up in the morning, there was a glimmer of hope in a text, a glimmer of hope. And then there was another glimmer of hope in a Facebook message. These were by no means solutions, but there was hope. It showed me someone else cared. It felt a little better. And then a remote possibility presented itself. And it was remote. It was so remote. But you know what I knew it was? It was a sign the universe was whirling and twirling my cube. And then I did a little inspired action here and there when I told Chad to reach out to the contact the shelter had suggested, and before you know it, by 6 p.m. that day, we were standing smack dab in the middle of a miracle manifestation. It was a miracle. Oh my gosh, it was a miracle for the dog. It was a miracle for us. It was a miracle for the cat. It was a miracle for everyone. She got into a training program with a behavior specialist who works with her exact issue. And it turns out this guy's only like 25 minutes away from me. It wasn't 3 days drive, 25 minutes away, who I'd never heard of before. All of the trainers that I knew to reach out to, they were booked out for months in advance. I'd never heard of this guy. He was not only available for a consult that very day, but he also said he thought that she was rehabable. Okay, that's not what he called it, but that's how I interpret it, that she was rehabable. And not only could this dog be rehabbed, but he could do it. He offered that service, not just the service, hey, come to my group training program on every Saturday from 9 to, not that. He does it in person. Okay, not only that, he had an opening right now. Not only that, he took her on the spot. On the spot, y'all, and not only, he charged a lot less than he could have, a lot less than he should have for his reputation and his demand. I would have paid a lot more. In fact, I tried paying more. I tried bribing my way into another rescue group or a foster home or a training with another, and it wasn't working. It couldn't work. No amount of money could overcome my incredibly strong instruction, my vibration that said, I got a big problem here. That's all I could get. Whatever I vibrate. So when I'm vibrating problem, of course, no amount of money could solve my problem. So I was over the moon happy, excited to pay this guy's training fee that should have probably been triple what it was, at least. Anyway, think about how amazing that was. This guy, the specialist, not just a trainer, the guy who specializes in what we needed. I didn't even know he existed. He's practically in my neighborhood. He's normally booked out months in advance. Like, his colleagues even hesitate to refer him because he's so busy. He's got so much business, you could never get in with him. Because I was like, how come nobody told me about this guy? And one of my friends was like, Jeanette, I did mention him specifically. I just said he's always booked out in advance, so that's probably not going to be your answer. And all I remembered him saying was, well, this won't work, that won't work. but I wasn't hearing properly because I couldn't hear any solutions. I was dialed on problems. So all I got to do is switch over to happily ever after for a minute or two, and out of the blue, everything's working. There's a perfect solution. Oh my gosh, it just felt amazing. This is me standing in wonder as Universe was solving my Rubik's Cube. And it wasn't hard for Universe because it knows the people and the resources and the timing. It arranges the perfection of solutions we can't even conceive exist. And it does it on a dime. It does it in its sleep with its eyes closed. All we got to do is find what it feels like to have what we want. That's it. And yes, I'm not done on this one. I'll be revisiting that vibration before she comes back at the end of the month. I'll just be doing it for good measure to make sure I got that vibration nicely in place. Actually, you know what? I already started that for good measure routine because we were on a scripting call at Good Vibe University on Wednesday. It was the call where each month we cover another tool of the manifesting trade. And this month we were talking about scripting. And my colleague, my fellow coach, was on the call, and she was talking about how she scripts with a manifesting buddy that she met at Good Vibe University. So they don't know each other that well, just through GVU. So when they script with each other, it's actually really easy for them because they don't know their situations all that well. So whatever they script, she said to me, we just believe each other. We just believe each other. I loved that so much. Whatever they say, they just believe. That's what Universe does for us when we give it a new vibrational instruction. It just believes us. No matter what we say. When I say impossible problem, it says, yep. When I say happily ever after, it says, yep. It believes me no matter what I say. I just got to get better at saying what I want instead of what I don't want. So anyway, on that call, my colleague had suggested, look, let's script right then and there with each other. So that sounded like fun. So we did. When we ended our recording weeks, we did it off the record. We scripted with each other. And at first I was like, I don't have anything I'm really cooking up right now. But then I remembered, hello, Olive. I remembered that putting some more juice on that happily ever after would be a good use of my attention. So I talked about what an amazing outcome everyone had, what a good girl she is, how she got her happily ever after forever home. And you know what? I don't even know what that home looks like. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's not. I'm open, Universe. All I know for sure, because all I really want is for all of us to be happy, happily ever after all around. So what I know is everyone's super delighted with how things turned out here. She's amazing. Life is amazing. Everyone's happy. That's all I got to know. That's a good enough instruction for Universe to work with. I don't have to know the details in order to feel the thrill of a perfect solution. I know the vibration of perfect solution. I've experienced it so many times before, especially when it comes to foster animals. And you know what? Even if I never knew that from my past, I've got an imagination that can take me there. So I see Olive. I see her tail wagging. She's such a good girl, and she's looking right up into her human friend's face because she's so good at listening and taking her cues from them. And she's happy, and she's well-balanced, and she's thriving, and she's delighted with her life, and her people are delighted with her and with their lives. Her canine friends love her, and she loves them. And I've seen transformations in dogs when it comes to cats and vice versa. I mean, I know this vibration. And that's all I got to do to be the cooperative component that Abraham's always coaching us to be. That's all I got to do is put my problem down and just relax and enjoy and trust and delight and allow. That's all. And some of you might be thinking, oh, really, your miracle was you got a dog trainer? Come on, that's easy. I got a real problem on my hands, Jeanette. Not a find this foster dog solution stuff you're talking about. I've got a diagnosis or an eviction notice or a loved one with an addiction or whatever you think your impossible problem is. And you know what? You're right. You are always going to be right because Universe just believes you. Whatever you say, it believes you. So are you willing to say something different? Because it's totally up to you. Even with impossible problems. All you got to know is that it might feel impossible to you, but it's totally doable for Universe. It's easy for higher power, whatever you want to call Universe. It's not a big deal. It's it's going to feel like one when it arrives for you. Actually, Abraham says it arrives better when you don't think of it as a miracle. I get it but it's still it can work that way. In fact, it's one of our success stories that I got permission from a client to share next week at Good Vibe University when we do our reverse engineering of success stories. The word he used when he solved his impossible money problem was flabbergasted. And he typed it all in capital letters. Flabbergasted. He said that's how he felt when his impossible money situation resolved itself within 20 minutes of engaging the manifesting method that I asked him to do. 20 minutes. Here I'm all bragging about one day. He counted his in minutes. And you know what? His solution kept on flowing after that. It's been a couple weeks and it's still delivering more answers, more solutions, more money. Oh my gosh. And that guy was skeptical. He showed up highly skeptical and kind of ornery. You know, he wasn't in the best mood, not going to lie. He was in a fix. But it doesn't matter. When we find a way to give a new instruction, we get a new reality. That's how it works. And universe, it didn't even use the avenue he thought he needed in order to solve this, the one he hired me to help open up for him. Universe used a totally different path because we're not supposed to solve these ourselves. All we got to do is find the vibration of what we want and let universe do the work for us because it knows the ways. There isn't a single problem it can't solve when we get cooperative. We just got to be willing to get cooperative by offering a new vibrational instruction. This is so ridiculously cool to play with. So that's my impossible solutions thought for you today. And yes, while I'm happy to solve your Rubik's Cube for you, if you'd like some help doing that, and I mean, I can't vibrate on your behalf, but I am really good at helping you get to the sweet spot so you can take yourself there anytime on your own. But the truth is you don't need me for that. You've got the manual. You know what? I actually wrote the manual. It's a super short freebie download on my website. I think it's on the main page. It's called something like One Magic Question to Manifest Your Big Dream Come True. I think that's what it's called. And the magic question is just, what does it feel like to have what you want? When you can answer that question, when you answer that question, when you feel what it feels like to have what you want, which just means that you're feeling now how you'll feel when you have your desire manifested, that's when you are being the magic ingredient that universe needs to deliver your dream come true answer. And I'm not saying any of this because I don't enjoy helping you solve your problems. That's actually my sweet spot. It's my idea of a good time. People who know this stuff but are just got hung up somehow. That's who I love to work with more than anything. But I know that nothing's impossible. Not for universe. If you can imagine it, you can have it. And you don't have to figure it out yourself. You just have to stop vibrating problem and be willing to vibrate solution, to give universe an opening to solve it for you on your behalf. Because it knows what you want, and it knows how to deliver it. And it doesn't require nearly as much work or struggle or effort as you might have thought was going to be required. It's easy. It can be fast, and it can be enjoyable. That's how the system was designed to work. And aren't we having fun working it? I sure am. I hope you are too. Thanks for listening, everyone, and happy manifesting.